Good evening. As a preliminary matter, this is Dutrochen Joko, Chair of the Denver's Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members are present as anticipated on the agenda. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Paul Polak. Paul Polak.
It's muted.
You gotta unmute yourself.
I'll get back to him. Bill Graham.
Aye.
Clarence.
Here.
Donna Hopkins. Charles Desmond. Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
Present.
David McKenna. Bob Gamer. Kathy Sullivan Bradley. David Mills.
Present.
Lieutenant Rob Sullivan.
Rob's there. He's muted though.
Eileen Page from
I'm here.
Robinson. And anticipated guests, please respond in the affirmative. Colby Thompson.
Here.
Erin Liley. Okay.
Doesn't look like Aaron's on yet.
Good evening again. This open meeting of the Denver's Human Rights and Inclusion Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gathering, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirements of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda material for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberation of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comments. For this meeting, the Denver's Human Rights and Inclusion Committee is convening remotely via the WebEx app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I, the chair, note otherwise. Meeting business with ground rules. Let's go to some ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I, the chair, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comments, questions, or motion. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or your computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through me, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. I will now go to the first item on our agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from February 27, 2020 and March 27, 2020. Bob Gamer is making the motion to approve the minutes, second by Sally Cairns. Eileen, if you could please unmute everyone so I can have
Yes,
them.
Bobby and Bob and Sally off of mute. Combine Bob and Sally. Sorry.
Get off of mute here. I see a minus on another. You
think you're off.
okay? I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of February the 27th, 2020, and to approve the minutes of May 27, 2020, both as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So Dee, I think we have to do a roll call vote. I think you have to go member by member and have them vote.
Paul Pollack, what's your vote?
Everyone mute.
Bill Graham,
Aye.
Jorge Sanchez Salazar,
Aye.
Bob Gamer,
Aye.
is aye, and Sally Cairns,
Aye.
and I'm aye. Of February 27, 2020, and May 27.
You missed me.
Oh, was that Donna?
You missed me, Dave. Yeah.
Donna Hopkins?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So the minutes of February 27, 2020 and May 27, 2020 are approved as written. I will now proceed to the third item on the agenda. The Denver Human Rights and Inclusion Committee is a cohesive task force against anti-Semitism, homophobia, intolerance, racism, sexism, and bigotry. We partner with the police, school administration, and several community partners on events to create a positive atmosphere for multicultural community. We stand against hatred and support those who experience marginalization due to their age, gender, race, ethnicity, religious belief, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status. This year, we received several scholarship applications from our Denver high school students, but there were two that really stood out and therefore were selected to receive the 2020 Human Rights and Inclusion Committee Scholarship. It's my honor and a privilege to introduce to you Colby Thompson and Aaron Lally. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm putting you on the spot here, but I don't know if Colby want to say something about. She started some things at the high school that she hopes, even as an alumni, will continue. You want to take a minute to just say something about your future endeavor?
Yeah. So what I did at the high school this year was I worked with the life skills program at the high school, which is special education students who are working, who will stay in high school until they're 22 years old. And during the school day, they work on everyday life skills. And so what I did this year was I was in charge of the school store. And so I partnered with the life skills program and had about 5 of the students come in almost every day, and we worked on just like everyday retail skills that they can use to then get a job. And so we worked on it from September to when we got out of school. And basically, we spent September and October practicing the skills like folding clothes and how to do the cash register, how to customer service, how to do that. And by November, December, they didn't need my help at all. Like they were doing it on their own. And so I really got to see how like effective that partnership was and how much it did for them, and not only just them, like it helped me so much like see how great of a program the life skills program is. And I did the partnership was with DECA too, and so my hope is that someone next year in DECA will take that over, will take the school store over, and will also continue the partnership with the life skills program because it was extremely effective, and 2 of the students were able to get jobs, and they both said that the training in the Falcons Nest helped them get those jobs. So that was a really great experience for me.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you. And that's only part of what Colby presented in her application for the scholarship. And congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Erin,
Hi.
thank you for joining us. Hi.
So I was the president of our Best Buddies chapter this year, and Best Buddies is all about inclusion, like your committee is. And what we focus on is teaching them how to go out in the community and just make new friends. So some of the things that we did this year was we got them to go to the first football game. So they were interacting with different students that they would never hang out with. We also had our first dance this year that a lot of our students went to their first dance. So it was a snowball dance. We had community help us with pizza and popcorn. We all had that donated.
Thank you very much. And again, that's just part of all of the great work that you do to make our community more inclusive and accepting to everyone. So thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And in that same line of thought, we, as I said, at the committee, try to work for an environment where everyone is included. And we have some programming updates, and we work along, as I said, with other partners in town, the school, the police, to make sure that the community is as inclusive as it can be. We had a subcommittee that was working on some programming. I will pass it to Sally. Sally, can you update us? And I'm going now to item number 4 on the agenda. Did I lose Sally?
No, I just took her. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Great, sorry. First, I want to congratulate both Erin and Colby for their great work at Danvers High School. it's very uplifting to hear stories of peer-to-peer inclusion, overtures of just friendship, but really, that include, kids who never would have worked in the store, kids who went to the first game or to their first dance. It's really wonderful. I hope you can both continue that work when you attend college, wherever that might be, whether it's from your comfy bedroom at home or wherever it might be. Yes, Dee, as you know, we had been in conversations with an author named Debbie Irving, and we recommend her book. We read it a couple of years ago. It's called Waking Up White. She is from Winchester, Massachusetts, and she wrote this book about her journey to understanding and awareness of racism, systemic racism, everything that we're hearing about over the past month. So we had the discussion of an outline of how we would bring Debbie Irving here. And we were discussing how would that work? They usually do 2 events. That was in late February. And I had to email her, I guess it was or she emailed me in April and said, the world has changed, everything's upside down. But I did get back to her the other day and said, what would you think about a Zoom with Debbie? And we could, it could be for our committee members, it could be for anybody we'd like, town employees, department heads, teachers, anybody who thinks that they would like to join in the Zoom. I have not heard back, but I also have become aware, and maybe others can chime in with what they know about it, but there's a tremendous amount of online racial justice programming and trainings. And I'm just, so that's another option for us to consider, to maybe collect some of those sites and put them on our website. And I would just throw it out there, since we have 2 sharp, young, engaged, soon to be college students, if anyone has a hankering to do some tweaking on our website or posting on our Facebook page, that would be the type of thing that we could put up to encourage people and ourselves. I would like very much for us to do it as a group. We've been having conversations about inclusivity and creating a climate of acceptance. I think it would be cool if our group could do it as a unit, but I think that if we could bring Debbie here via Zoom and open it up to anyone who'd like to participate, I think that would be pretty cool. That for now.
Thank you, Sally. Any comments? Paul Polak.
Turned on? Am I off mute?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes, I can hear
fine.
you.
Yeah, I agree. I think Debbie would be an outstanding addition to any type of program we can have. I would much more prefer to have it as a live audience with the opportunity to have questions and answers, and I think that part of a program would generate a lot of interest. I understand what we're sort of behind the 8 ball because we just don't know where we're going to be with the COVID-19 situation as is. But I had an opportunity. I think it would be a tremendous program. But in fairness to Debbie, she does deserve a rather large audience, I believe, to warrant having her in Danvers. And I'm not so sure where Zoom would fill that need. I'm not convinced yet at that, but I couldn't speak more favorably to Sally's work, contacting her and getting her, making her available to us at some time in the future. Had the opportunity to read her book. It's an outstanding piece of literature, and it's eye-opening. So I'm totally in favor of anything we can do. What I certainly would love to see her in person in Danvers rather than the way we have to do things now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bill Graham?
It sounds like an exciting program to me, and there's a lot one could do with Zoom. I was at a state church training with the Diocese of Massachusetts this morning, and one of the things that we did along with the group presentations to the whole group was to split off into small groups for discussion. My group was 3 people for that, so there's a lot of flexibility one can do via Zoom meetings.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Donna Hopkins?
Okay. It's difficult. Yeah, I'd love to have a huge group. I think she does deserve to have a lot of people there, but I kind of think Zoom meetings are becoming the new normal, and you can do a lot of things with them. Or having a smaller group, maybe our committee, some other people that might be in attendance with very strict social distancing masks, and having her talk and taping it. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that I don't think it's going to be, I'm not a naysayer, but I just think it's going to be a while before we can have a very large group together in person.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot my camera was off.
That's fine. Jorge Sanchez Salazar?
Hi. Yeah, I really don't have anything to add. I think it'd be great to hear her one way or the other. Obviously, in person, it would be better. But you know, it is what it is. However we have to do it would be nice.
Bob Gamer?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, let me start again. From your description, it sounds like a great idea. I can offer one suggestion. I mean, this is getting to me out of the blue. You know, I would have liked to read a précis of the book. I haven't read the book. I think that would be in order to get a general idea of what this woman has to say on the most important topic of our day. As for the way it's presented, you know, Zoom is the new norm, you know, and we have to get used to it. So I you know, will approve that as the format.
Okay, thank you. Lieutenant Rob Sullivan?
Same thing here, D. I'm getting used to all the Zoom meetings.
Well, thank you. David Mills?
Well, hi, everybody. I'm not a voting member, but I'm glad to be included, and thank you for asking for my thoughts. She sounds like a brilliant presenter. And at the very least, we sat with as a small group as we have to under the circumstances. This WebEx is okay. I use Zoom, and I know it's a commercial site. For a lot of other things, my own little private website can take up to 100 people at a time, and it's been pretty flawless. So whatever we do, the more people we can include, that doesn't mean feedback back and forth, because that would take days. But the more people that could have the opportunity to observe anything that we do, I think that's helpful. But otherwise, I think people are getting used to the online platforms. I've done several on this WebEx, and with town business. None of them have been smooth as silk. WebEx may be a superior product, I don't know. But I find Zoom to be more simple and also BlueJeans to be flawless. So just a thought. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Us. So it sounds like there's a consensus that the subcommittee continues that work into trying to get her in if possible. Is that what I'm hearing? And just not, I'll say yes. Not sure. This Zoom thing, you can't. So the subcommittee will continue its work as far as contacting her and finding different ways to get her to share some of the things that she does, and we can update the full committee at the August meeting.
Dee, could I make one further comment?
Yes, please.
I bet that the speaker herself has had a lot of experience in dealing with the same circumstance that we have. That is, we want her, we need her, and we don't know the best way to be presenting that. And she may have several excellent, examples of what she's done in the last couple of months. So the subcommittee may find that helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I also, am I being heard?
Sure. Go ahead,
Thanks.
Sally.
I think it might be both. Perhaps we eventually will have either Debbie Irving or, I mean, I would like to have Debbie Irving. And I think it'll be a very long time before we could do a crowd event. And I agree with David. I believe, and others have said it, I think Zoom is here to stay. And when you think about it, there are so many more people who might participate because it's Zoom. But then also I was going to suggest that perhaps we could be, I mentioned earlier, perhaps we could just put out to people various racial awareness or inclusivity trainings and workshops. But maybe we should host one or two. Maybe we start with Debbie if she's available. I don't know what she'll tell us, but this could be very helpful to just have conversations. Yeah, I had a conversation with our police chief, and he said, we're going to need to have conversations. So that's something to think about, that maybe every other meeting of this group could be more dialogue with special guests who can enlighten us. And also, there's a possibility of Facebook Live or DCAT. So we have these other options.
Perfect.
That's all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dee, I think we've got Bob who wants to speak.
Sure.
Sounds like, as far as the platform goes, I think we should, a subcommittee, appoint a subcommittee. So there seem to be a lot of options here. And we should explore them.
There's actually a subcommittee working on those programming. We had one since, I believe, January that gave us an update back in February. But it sounds like things are not completely ironed out yet. As far as contacting her and seeing not only her availability, but what kind of platform is doable with the pandemic. And that's what we will need to iron out and bring back to the full committee. I will now move on to the 5th item on the agenda, which is the bumper sticker and the unity sign.
I think Bill had one other thought.
I'm sorry. I'll
If
take
we
the
were
pass.
going to do an internet meeting, I would like to see some of our high school age students available to participate, or recent graduates. I think they have a lot to offer to us.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yep.
Thank you, Bill. So I'll move on to the fifth point on the agenda, which is the bumper sticker and the unity sign. We had discussed a few meetings back about having a bumper sticker contest. And then we also did get some residents who contacted us, who contacted me in town hall about having a unity sign posted in town. So any update on the bumper sticker first? I'll give it to Bob, who was leading that subcommittee.
Oh, I got him on mute. Where's Bob? There he is. All right, Bob.
Okay, as far as the progress that we've made, we've met with, and talked with Superintendent Dana, Principal Jason Colombino, both of whom are very enthusiastic about this project. There are a number of things that we need to iron out. For example, where we should aim it, whether it should be the high school, whether it should be all of the schools. And we need to really make a decision regarding that. But I think as far as the timing would go, we'd like to make this part of the new school year, to get a bumper sticker project going in motion.
Thank you.
Oh, can I just add one more thing?
Sure.
Yeah, that we there's an anonymous donor who's offered a $500 award, and we were thinking of making a motion that the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee donate another $500 to make the total award $1,000 for the bumper sticker that is judged the best.
Okay. And can you Bill, elaborate a little bit about what the bumper sticker is? What is it we're looking for the people watching?
This was initially a suggestion that came from David, and we thought it was a good idea. I would especially like to see the middle school and high school both available to participate. We had some marvelous artwork for the Lions Peace Poster Contest in middle school. And some of those students are now in high school, and they should all be available to submit an entry.
So you think it should be high school and middle school? Is that correct?
That's my personal opinion.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure.
Also,
yes, Bob, go ahead.
That this not be just the art departments that do this, but I think one of the suggestions was that this be open to all students, diversity of different classes. Not make it solely, an art school project, an art department project.
Okay, so it should be open to all students within the school, not
Yes.
only to the students who do art. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
I think Sally has a comment as well.
Sally, any comment?
Questions. First is, who will decide? I guess who will the judges be? And will they, and what was the thinking behind a cash prize? Those are my questions.
Well, I think I think
Go ahead, Bob.
as far as the cash prize goes, it's an incentive. You know, it's a carrot, and matter. I think it shows value. You know, I think that's another point to make. And as far as the judges go, which was your other question, I think that we're not totally decided on that. Can be members of our committee, can be you know, a school matter, school, you know,
Or both.
or a combination, you know, and getting to the what the bumper stickers. I don't think we mentioned what the bumper sticker is supposed to say. You know, it follows the trajectory. You know, if you go all the way back, you had a bumper sticker for diversity. We'd like to, you know, set the, you know, today, you know, with human inclusion and rights, you know, have that as the.
You cut out, Bob. Have the title be what?
Human rights and inclusion.
I think his audio is. I think he said the title should have to do with diversity, human rights, and inclusion. That should be the concepts presented in the bumper sticker.
Not diversity. Diversity. You know, if you go back, you know, in time, there was a bumper sticker for diversity. See, we're moving ahead to the present, where we're emphasizing, you know, human rights and inclusion, and that would be the nomenclature of the sign.
It's interesting to follow the public dialogue on this. I came across someone who urged us to no longer use the term diversity. I can't articulate it, but it kind of made me think. It's a little bit connected to what you're saying, Bob, that was sort of in the past, almost the same way, you know, there used to be in our mission statement, it was all about we promote tolerance. And you look at that now and you think, let's tolerate one another? Is that the best that we could come up with? So the evolution of people's thought around, you know, these concepts and the nomenclature is important. Personally, I find myself describing this committee to people. I call it the Diversity, Human Rights, and Inclusion Committee.
Yeah, I just want to, if I can add to that.
Go ahead, Bob.
I mean, if there was ever a time where we have to underline human rights, you know, lives matter, it's right now. I mean, human rights, not only for Black Lives Matter, but the Native Americans, for all marginal groups. We need to stand up and really take a position, you know, in favor. I think that's behind the title being what we're suggesting. Human rights and also inclusion. You know, it's a flag word, but it's so important where we're going, where we should be.
Well, this was a good conversation topic.
May I speak to that?
Sure, go ahead, David.
May I speak to that? I'll try to be brief. It was almost 30 years ago when I came out of the closet. I was almost 50 years old, having hidden in Danvers as a terrified gay man my entire early adult life. When the first bumper sticker came out, about 30 years ago, it was Celebrate Diversity with multiple colors. And I was thrilled. I thought that was really wonderful. I paid no attention to the substance of what the celebration of separateness would mean. I took it as some way my reality was being recognized. Then about 10 or 15 years later, there was a blue and white bumper sticker that became popular. And it was the bumper sticker was coexist. And I thought, gee, that was wonderful. And I got one of those and put that on my car because I wanted to coexist with other non-gay people in the world. Well, here we are, and this is now the Inclusion Committee, and it's where I am in my whole life. I want to be included, and I want every other human being in my life, especially my citizens in Danvers, to be included in the whole. And so that's why I think we talked for a year about changing the name of our committee to the Inclusion Committee. And I think that was kind of the concept that we were experiencing at that time. And I think Sally's quite right of having recognized the social, the social literature these days that inclusion is the way to go. Division, diversity, separateness is something that was under the surface of all that well-intentioned stuff. But I think what we wanted to do was go further as a committee with we did. And the concept of the bumper sticker, as I understood it, was an inclusion to kind of follow up on celebrate diversity, coexist, and this is now stage 3, which we hope is the healthy stage for us at this time, which is inclusion. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, David. Before I call, I'll get back to you, Bob. Before I get back to you, I'll call on Paul Polak if he has any comment. And prior to doing that, the students, our guests for today, Colby and Aaron, you guys are more than welcome to stay. But if you have to excuse yourself, that's okay as well. Okay. Paul Polak, any comments on the bumper sticker?
Not right now, Dee. I've enjoyed the dialogue. I think we should keep it as open as possible, at least at minimum, through the high school and HRMS. Whether you go back down into the elementary school, I think is up to the committee. They can make that decision early on. And I certainly agree that if we have potential anonymous support of $500, we could match that very easily. I'd be all in favor of that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Donna Hopkins?
Donna, yep, there you go.
Okay, I'm on now.
You
No,
are, yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine. I don't really have much to add that hasn't been said already.
Okay, thank you. Jorge Sanchez? Salazar, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, I think that it's a great idea. It's just maybe we could open it to instead of students at the high school and the middle school, all people, all Danvers residents who are of school age. A lot of kids go to, the prep or, the tech or St. Mary's or those schools. Maybe we could open it up to all of them too. As long as they're Danvers residents.
Thank you. Lieutenant Rob Sullivan?
Hey, nothing to add other than what's been said. I really like what Sally and David said. It's really interesting to actually look at the bumper stickers and see how they even relate to our group and the name of our group and how that's evolved. And it's an interesting way of looking at it. How is it going to be in the future? What's a better name or better function for us moving forward? I really liked and appreciated that.
Thank you. I spotted Dr. Charlie Desmond, who I believe joined us. We're talking about the bumper sticker context. Any comments?
Unfortunately, I'm sorry that I was late joining the conversation, so it's better for me to just listen at this point rather than entering any points whatsoever.
Thank you. And I love the idea. I believe, as Jorge Sanchez Salazar, that it should be open to all Danvers school age kids. Because some Danvers residents don't necessarily go to DHS or HRMS. So I believe we should open to all of them. As far as the anonymous donation, I I think that was gracious, and we can't say no. That's really appreciated. I feel that, I mean, we're very tight on resources as far as the committee is concerned, and this is a great cause. This is a great thing. We can leave the funds to the anonymous donation, and the extra 500 from the committee could be used for another event or another for on something else. That's just my thought. I don't know what the rest of the committee will decide, but I think we should accept the anonymous donation. And I would task the subcommittee working on that bumper sticker to come back to us, since we're going to be starting with the following year, to come back at our August meeting with some concrete guidelines. What is it that we'll be looking for? Who will be the judges? How will we contact the students? Is it going to be through the school? Is it going to be D-card or press release? So we should have those details and be able to take a vote at our August meeting. Bob, you had something else to say.
Oh, hang on, Bob. There you go.
Yeah, relating to that, we need to have a subcommittee, meeting. And I know that one was appointed, but we never had a meeting. So we need to push that, especially if we're aiming to start this in, as of September. And also, obviously, to take a vote in the August meeting. By the August meeting, we already should have decided, what.
I believe that subcommittee was yourself, Bob Gamer, Bill Graham, and Lieutenant Bob Sullivan had said he could participate along with our Board of Selectmen liaison, David Mills. And then I think Eileen also said she could help. Is that correct, Eileen?
Yes, I'm happy to provide whatever support you need from the town hall side.
So we should get a Zoom meeting,
So exactly. So you guys coordinate that, and then at our August meeting, we will have a more concrete set of guidelines and what it would look like.
Right. Okay. One other thing, relating to what David Mills was saying about inclusion. We had the rainbow flag raising in Danvers, and I think this was a perfect example of the implementation of inclusion. Raising the rainbow flag at a number of elementary schools and businesses all through the city, the firehouse. I mean, it was just a wonderful opportunity. I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, and I think Sally has her hand.
Sally, go ahead.
So I want to commend Bob, and I think it's Bill and Dee. Are you part of that small subcommittee? So it's the three of you so far?
That's correct.
Right. So it would be nice to have some gender balance on it. But funny.
Well, we have Eileen.
It would also be nice, I think, and helpful. One of the people who was just on with us happens to be an art teacher and a woman. And I bet you she would be willing. It's going to be 2 meetings of a subcommittee. She might have some very valuable input around the topic that how are you going to manage the age groups and the judging the artwork and so on and so forth. And so if you're open to that, whether it's that individual or someone else, I think it would be helpful to find someone who could bring some of that expertise. And then I'm wondering, are we going to sell these bumper stickers, or are we going to, buy, I don't know, $800 worth of them and give them away? I mean, I know that these are all subcommittee questions, but I just,
That's right.
and I do think if you could get someone like an Erin Lally, excuse me, Maureen Lally to be on this committee, she could be really a value added.
Thank you, Sally. I'll let you speak, Bob. That's fine, Sally. If you can forward her information, and we can reach out to her and see if she can assist us and bring her expertise, that will be greatly appreciated. And Bob, and Bob, you're gonna speak of, are we gonna sell it or how are we gonna distribute it? I think that's part of what the subcommittee will be deciding and bringing
Yes.
back to us. But maybe you have something else to say.
No, that's what I was going to say. I think that would be the decision, what the subcommittee decides on that.
Okay.
So
Thank you. And now, Sally, are you interested in being on that subcommittee, or Donna?
I've got a lot going on at the moment, but that's why I'm trying to recruit someone who can cover two bases, both gender and expertise. And then I don't know, I guess the trifecta would be someone who is a female and a teacher, an art teacher, and well-versed in the print industry. But I think if you could get this other person, I'm happy to be consulted or whatever. I think I won't hesitate to tell you all my thoughts, but if you really need me, I'm happy to do it. Depending on hour of the day.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And if you could please forward the information for that resident, that would be appreciated. We can reach out to her.
Sure.
And along the same line of the bumper sticker, we had several requests from residents about a unity sign. Eileen, can you comment, because people reach out to the town hall and were inquiring about our committee working on these unity signs. Can you speak to that, please?
So we actually, I believe it was a resident who reached out originally, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she had brought up that Beverly has a sign campaign out right now. There are these beautiful, like, watercolor type rainbow signs around Beverly that say "Unity is our community." So I reached out to Beverly's Human Rights Committee, and I spoke with I think she's their chair, Leah, and we had a great conversation. And she gave me just kind of the Reader's Digest version of how they went about pulling this campaign together. They got it done pretty quickly. So basically what they did is they went out to the residents of Beverly and asked for slogan ideas. And everybody, a ton of people submitted slogans. They had a great response, and the committee decided, they chose the slogan they wanted. They decided on "Unity is our community." And one of their committee members is actually an artist, and she designed the sign and had them used a local printing shop in Danvers, Danvers in Salem, who printed all of the signs. They came with the stick that you can put in your yard, so you can put it out in your yard. And the way they did it, and this might be helpful as well for the subcommittee to consider for the bumper stickers, they did a pre-order, and they waited until they had 100 orders before they actually went ahead and placed an order with the printing company. And I have their name written down in the other room, so I will pass that along as well to the subcommittee. They actually ended up they sold the signs, I think it was $10 a sign, and they made a $5 profit on it, which they put into their funds, and were actually able to partially fund a anti-racism training for their city council members. So I think, I don't know what the committee's goals are in terms of fundraising, but I think if we were able to make even that small $5 profit off of it, we could really, put on some great programs for the community. So the big thing for them was that they held pre-orders. They didn't just order and end up with somebody's garage filled with these signs. They made sure there was interest and they ordered them in batches of 100. I think they said it was about a 3-month process from start to finish. So they were very productive with this. If this is something that the committee would like to move forward on, and I think it in some ways could be combined with the bumper sticker as well, if we wanted to maybe just hold one contest where we come up with the bumper sticker design and also have it applied to signs, that might be something we could do. But if it is something the committee would like to move forward to, I will reach out to Beverly again and get some more specific details. How they did the pre-orders, the exact process they went through with the printing and all of that. They definitely told me about some lessons learned they had to keep it a little more organized that I think we could benefit from. So I would reach out to them and get a little more information there. But that's kind of the rundown of the whole campaign that they did, and the signs came out great. I drive through Beverly once in a while and I see them and they look great, and it's kind of a nice all-encompassing slogan that they have out there, that includes everything from race, sexual identity, gender, everything encompassed on unity is our community. So they were really proud of their campaign, and it came out great.
Thank you, Eileen. Before I get the members' comments, one of the questions that I had in the event that we in this body wanted to go forward with that sign, could we print the same signs that they had for Danvers? That was one of the questions that I had. Would they let us just use their design and just print the signs, or we have to come up with our own design?
So I'd have to check in with them. I know it was an original design by one of their committee members. It also has the Beverly Human Rights Committee logo on it as well. I don't think we want to put a Beverly one all over Danvers. But that's kind of where I had the idea of maybe once we settle on a bumper sticker slogan and design, maybe we just transfer that to the signs as well, and then people could kind of have the option of bumper sticker, sign, both, and it's sort of it's continuously identifying this committee all over Danvers, and we don't have to go out and have a second contest to design a sign, a lawn sign. It's something I could check in with them on about, but at the same time, I think it might be nice to have a more Danvers specific design out there, but that's obviously up to the committee.
Okay, thank you. Paul Pollack, any comments?
Well, let me get you off mute, Paul. There we go.
I said I'm all set. Thank you. I enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. Bill Graham?
Logo of any sort?
Sorry, could you repeat that, Bill?
Does Danvers have any sort of logo for the town comparable to Beverly's?
So I've definitely seen, I think everybody's probably seen the We Are Danvers logo around town. Some people put them in the windows. It's basically, it's a big blue D with, what is it? I feel like it has a banner on either side, and I can't think of what it says exactly. But I know I've seen that around town in a couple places. I'm not sure if somebody owns that logo necessarily. I think it's based off of the high school logo potentially. Does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Sally, any thoughts?
I'm wondering, what is our objective? what is our objective in having a bumper sticker or a lawn sign? I understand the bumper sticker. There's a feeling of a marketing campaign that is emerging that it makes me ask the question, what is our goal? What is our objective in having these materials? Is it, to promote the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee? Is it to say, we, our own Danvers, our town, we value human rights and inclusion. We want everyone to know that we do. Is it to say, hey, we're all one town Danvers? I just think we should have some clarity, on that, because there are, the We Are Danvers. I think that's an app that Mark Jones might have created. He's the guy who does he does ours too, the website.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm nudging us to be clear about what is our objective? Is it to further our own understanding of inclusion? I don't know. Unity is our community, I think. What does that mean?
Bob, you're off.
Before I don't know if anybody ever. I'm gonna call everyone, but before I pass on to Donna for her comment, Sally, I think David Mills said it once the best when he was talking about the flag. He said, flag is more than the cloth and the stripe, and I firmly believe that such signs is more than the plaque and the word. It is action. And unity is our community. That to having something like that in front of, it doesn't have to be that, but when we do the sign and for the residents to put it in front of their lawn, I hope that when they put it there, that's what they believe in, and that's a way to express that. That's it. Because one of the way to support the marginalized is to have visibility. And having that sign out there speaks volume. It's more than the sign and the word. It's actually taking action, saying, I support this. This is what I stand for. That's just my 2 cents. Donna, any comments? Donna Hopkins.
I think I was waiting for the mute to go off. I actually like unity as our community. I do think that makes sense, and it's pretty concise. But like Sally, this part of it, I guess I do want to know what is our purpose? What are we after? What are we trying to get out of this? I'm pleased that they made so much money off it, and they were able to do some programs with it. I think that would be wonderful because budget's always been a big deal for us and how much money we have to spend on things. I'm more inclined to want to do the signs than the bumper sticker, but I don't know how much money we could bring in doing one or the other or both. So I guess that's something I'd like to leave up to the people working on the committee to come back with something a little more concrete that we can look at.
Thank you. Charles Desmond.
Oh, hang on, Charlie. There we go.
I'm muted,
I gotcha. There you go.
Still, am I muted still?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, well, I would say that there's people who make gazillions of dollars a year working on slogans and contact things that you can use that speak for your message. But I think the interesting thing about unity as our community is that it unites communities. It's a concept that didn't originate in Danvers, but that says there's something about communities that are coming together right now, consolidation and unity around the fact that we're coming together, recognizing that these are challenges that we're all facing. So, I think that we could spend a lot of time thinking about better ways of saying it. United we stand, or whatever. But I think the whole idea of what is it that we're trying to communicate is, as the committee, we have been tasked by this community to come up with ways of communicating what their deeper messages around inclusion. And it seems to me that whatever we ultimately decide would be the message is important, because we're speaking for a larger population that's looking for a vocabulary to talk about coming together in recognitions of our differences and appreciation of our differences. So I'm not totally convinced that we have to have the absolutely perfect language, but I think it's more important that we have something that we say that we think we can agree that conveys our feelings about this issue. So to come back to the beginning, this community is our community. I'm sorry. The idea that as a community that we're coming together, to me, seems to be an important message that would resonate with the broader community. Particularly in these times right now that are so fraught with division, divisiveness, and tension.
Thank you. Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
Yeah, I'm wondering about, or I'm trying to come up with a reply to Sally's question about what is the point of this, that, why do this at all? I think it's a great idea personally. And I think, we may not have a brand as the Inclusion and Human Rights and Inclusion Committee, but I think just making people aware of our existence, whether by social media or with these bumper stickers or with the signs, I think that can't be a bad thing. So I think that I don't know how this would go forward. There's a slogan submission, if there will be some art submission on the side, if we should break up the money, 50-50 for art and for copy or something like that. But I think it would be, I personally think it'd be a great idea.
Thank you. Did I call on Bob Gamer?
I got Bob, and then Bill has a hand up.
Okay. Bob?
On the day that John Lewis was eulogized and buried, we have a man who gave his life for unity. On that Edmund Pettus bridge, that fellow with a baton who was cracked and fractured his skull, that was disunity. So in answer to Sally's question, what is the objective? The objective is outreach. It's getting the message out there. Is it the answer? Of course not. But it is a step, and I think a necessary step. If you know anything about advertising, the more times you repeat something, the more it's likely to get imprinted on their minds. So I'm in favor of a poster. I'm in favor of a bumper sticker. These are all platforms to get our message of unity across.
Thank you, Bob. Bill Graham.
Oh, hang on, Bill. Sorry.
I see two very different projects with the sign and the bumper stickers, which may or may not be related to each other. I'm questioning whether, a subcommittee that's to report back to you in a month on the bumper stickers really has the time available at this point to work on the signs or whether there should be a separate committee. I'm worried that we might not get a decent materials presented to you next month if you try to do too much.
Okay. I will. That yeah, we'll hear from our two liaisons and see if they have any comments. I'll start by Lieutenant Rob Sullivan.
Dee, I can actually tell you from my experience that I think the signs work. About a year and a half ago, and I brought this into one of our previous meetings, my family and we were shopping up in, or spending the day up in Kennebunkport, and a bunch of the businesses downtown had these just regular sized pieces of paper and a lot of the storefronts. And all they said was, so they start with a little banner. It says, "Hate has no business here. We respect women. We value Black lives. We stand with our LGBT community members. We stand with immigrants and refugees and people of all faiths. We stand with our community. All are welcome here." And then they have some translations. I don't know if this is going to work. Where's my camera? So kind of. So I mean,
Rob, does it have it in like a couple languages there at the bottom?
Yes, there's a couple. I should probably know what they actually say before I hold this up on a live broadcast. We were so impressed that we stopped. I took pictures of it. I went in and talked to the shop owners. I bought things from their stores because they had the sign. So I think they can be really impactful.
Thank you.
I think Rob said it very well. I definitely picture these signs as, I think when you see a sign like that, you think of it almost a little bit as sort of a safe space. And I just moved to Danvers. Well, not just, I moved here in February, but I rent a house and my landlord lives next door. And about a month ago, he put out a sign that said something similar to, the one Rob showed. But it said things like, Black Lives Matter, love is love, science is real. It just kind of went down, let's just get all of this out there and make sure we know we're accepting of everyone. It kind of hit on all the slogans. But I liked that. No, it wasn't in my yard, but knowing, okay, I'm renting a house from someone who aligns with my values, and I can now identify my neighbor, as somebody that, they align with my values and what I believe in and basic human rights. And I think we're living in a time where it can be a little difficult for people sometimes to come out and say that they believe in those things. So for people to put it on their lawn and say, this is my home and this is what I believe in, I want to know that those people are in Danvers and are readily identifying themselves. That's just my 2 cents.
Oh, thank you, Eileen. David Mayhouse, any comments?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, everybody, for listening to me. Just a couple of things come to my mind. Number one is this little excitement inside my soul that maybe the bumper sticker and the sign could be the same project, and the same kind of thought and design in the bumper sticker carries over into some wonderful community sign. But I would like to address, Donna asked and Sally asked, just what exactly are we attempting to accomplish? Well, here are some feelings that I've had in the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months. If you go over to Salem and you go up and down the streets where there are shops and stores and restaurants, you will see a rainbow flag in front of at least every third storefront. If you go up to Gloucester and walk along the boulevard, as I do every day, more and more and more, I see Black families parking there and going down on the beach and being together, because Gloucester is the kind of a place where different colors, Sicilian, Black, everyone is kind of known to be welcome. You know that when I speak, at the flag raising, I'm always speaking in terms of the anonymous 14-year-old little girl in Danvers who is contemplating suicide from the loneliness of believing that she is the only person in the world with same-sex attraction feelings, that she might be a lesbian and then have to go live in a different city. There are divorced people who are ashamed of being divorced. There are lesbian and gay people who are ashamed of being lesbian or gay. There are white men busting their tails to make a living who are ashamed because they aren't making enough money to buy everything that they want to do for their children. There is shame and guilt everywhere. There are all kinds of people hidden in closets. The gay closet was the one that was most important to me because that's the one I lived in for 50 years. But everybody has a closet. Mothers with, single mothers that can't provide. I think you've got the point. My hope is that our work, or my hope, for as long as I've been with this committee in some capacity or another, and in the concept of the bumper sticker and the signage and whatever we do, is to get every Danvers resident out of his or her closet so that there are no more closets. And that's what inclusion and welcome. That's my dream for what we are doing, and I'll keep working on it in my own way. I was coming down Center Street the other day, approaching Garden Street. There's a modest home there with a rainbow flag. There's a rainbow flag. It's like Bill Graham and I are the only permanent homes with a rainbow flags in Danvers up until 3 days ago. So I asked Jen if she could find out who the owner of that building is. And I sent them a letter, and I told them how thrilled I was to see their flag. It's only one flag, but there's still a flag up at the Central Firehouse because the ambulance company is going to keep it up all year. It's not a gay flag. It's a welcome flag. It's a peace flag, and everyone is included. And there's one in the bank across from the town hall that's going to stay up all year. And mine has been up consistently for 13 months, and it'll be up there till the day I die in this house. So little by little by little, my hope and goal for the bumper sticker, what we predominantly do, is to eliminate closets in Danvers so that all people can be free and open without guilt or shame and be included. The final thing I'll say is that there's been a Danvers Family Festival for about 30 years. People always asked me if I was going to go to something that the Danvers Family Fest, and I said, no, thank you. What I wanted to say was no, thank you, because for 30 years, I have been looking for one little tiny rainbow flag or some indication from that committee that single parents, lesbians, gays, and other kinds of excluded people are welcome in the Danvers family. They've never done it. I'm not interested in getting involved politically in that because frankly, I'm almost 78 and I'm too tired, but I'll stick with this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Donna, you have a comment?
I just wanted to say, and I think, David, I agree with everything you just said. I have no problem with that. I've already got that sign order that Eileen just talked about a few minutes ago. Or like, I'm sorry. My point though is we're going to be putting signs up for profit. That's different than trying to get signs out in the community, I think. So I just think we need to be clear on what it is that we're doing and how we're going to involve the community. And I think those are kinds of questions that need to be done in a smaller group when we can talk more freely and not so much in this format. This is very stilted, the way we have to run these meetings now because of all the rules that we need to comply with. And I understand the need for that, but perhaps having a smaller subcommittee that can ask some of these questions. But David, I'm all about, I wish we all had signs up. I love it because it makes me know what neighbor I could go to if I had a problem or who I feel like I can trust because I feel like their values are more in line with mine.
Absolutely.
So I think it would be wonderful to have more homes with signs of inclusion. I think that's very different than maybe looking at this going into it as a fundraiser, or maybe we can do both. But that's the only reason I was bringing that up. Not that it's a bad idea, not that I don't want signs. I just think we need to think about how we're doing it and what our ultimate goal is. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
So I think what we will do, Eileen, we will reach out to the few residents, first of all, who had reached out to town hall and get some of their input as to what what their intent was. And then we will also get some more information. I understand what Bill said about having this work on by the same subcommittee working on the bumper sticker. So we will leave the bumper sticker subcommittee the way it is. And once I get more information, I will assign another subcommittee to work on the Unity side.
Okay.
So that we can have some more clear guidance and information. Yes, Bill.
Oh, hang on, Bill. Sorry.
So thank you. I agree with. I was just worried about taking on too much and not getting anything done.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So I will get some more information, and I'll probably assign another subcommittee that will work and have some more clarity as to what we're doing, why we're doing it, and do we just try to use the one that Beverly has with their permission and adapt it to Danvers, or do we try to create our own? And
I love the idea of the sign.
Early tomorrow
Split
and
the two up.
touch on that.
Perfect. Thank you. I will now go on the sixth item on the agenda, which is our liaison updates. I know our school committee liaison, Eric Crane, was unable to join us today. He's actually having a school committee meeting right now. And the only update from their end was that they're working they're working very hard to figure out how to get the kids back to school in a safe way. That was the main thing on the agenda. It's been on the agenda for the past few weeks, and it's going to continue probably through August into deciding what next year will look like as far as the students. Pastor Voigt was unable to join us today. So I'll pass it to Lieutenant Rob Sullivan for our police liaison updates.
So what I wanted to bring for an update tonight was something more uplifting or happy that happened to us here at the police station. Everyone, I'm sure, like me, has seen the news, and it's all doom and gloom and horror, which I think pushes a narrative, and it's flashy, and it gets more viewers to watch these cycles of brutality or the virus, or not enough time is really or any time nowadays, if you watch any of the news channels, is spent on seeing anything positive, or the kind and good things people do for each other. If you flip on the news right now, you'll see something horrible. You won't see anything good. So some of the residents in town, everyone probably knows we're doing the birthday parades. I think our Facebook page said that we had just done our 500th birthday parade for members in the community. So a bunch of the residents decided to give us a parade. And it was about 70 car lengths full of people that staged down the street. And they had a big long parade that came around the station with signs and banners thanking the police and supporting their local Danvers Police Department, and just wanting us to know that they are there for us. Families, kids, flags, you name it. It was all part of the show. I think they actually went around twice. So that was kind of a really nice thing to see the community do for us. I say jokingly, the only downside to the parade was that they planned it for 4:45, which is when I come to work. So I got stuck at the tail end of the parade, and the chief of police and the captains and all the people I work for were out front waving and thanking all the people for coming to show their support. And then I'm stuck in the rear end of the parade, late for work. So, we were really happy to have the support. I think there's a short video clip on our Facebook page, a couple minutes long, about that parade.
Thank you. David Mills, Board of Selectmen updates.
Yeah, before I get to that, just one footnote to all you young people. Do not assume that everyone knows how to use the town Facebook, the police Facebook, or any other Facebook or chat zone or anything else. We all don't. I have to call Jen Breaker and say, Jen, how do I do it? So don't assume. Okay. The one report, major report that I have as your selectmen's liaison is that he and I had a wonderful talk with the town manager, sometime in the last week. And essentially, the town manager wanted us to know that he and town department heads and other people within the town employee body are working to do several things. One of them, as I understood it, was to identify demographically the closet. He doesn't use the word closeted. That's my word. But the separate communities in Danvers that are separate or seem or feel as separate from the community as a whole, and that he is going to probably be making some major suggestions to the Board of Selectmen at the second meeting in August, which I think is around the 16th or 17th. So he just asked if I could pass along the news that he gave to me, that the selectmen should be prepared to hear some wonderful news that will be really important, of some efforts townwide that our administration is taking, which I think will blend beautifully with the work of our inclusion committee. So that's about all. I can't think of anything else. Yeah, no, except they're all working every single day. They're working. I think we are so fortunate to have the people in this town who are dealing with this with no cynicism, with no complaints, and they are making do with what we have to make the town stay, I think, right on top of the game. So thank you, town, and thanks this committee for listening to me.
Dee, I think Bob has a comment.
Sure. Bob, Gamer?
Yeah. I would just like to extend a compliment to the Danvers Police Department. In that stand-in that we had for George Foreman on Main Street, you were up to 500. You know, that was the count that was given to me who attended. But I think the Danvers Police did an outstanding job of crowd control, and they were helping people across the street. I was really impressed. I just wanted to make a statement about that.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Paul Polak, do you have any comments before I move on to the next point? Is he on?
Oh, I think he is. There we go. Sorry, Paul. Couldn't find him in a second.
I agree with what Bob Gamer just said. I was at
Paul, you there?
I think I just lost Paul.
I can't hear him.
bicycles, two officers on bicycles, and they were present.
Okay. Paul, can you repeat that? I think your mic was a little off. Okay, I'll move on, and then if we get him back, Bill Graham, any comments?
I guess I wanted to thank the police that putting officers on bicycles is a great way of letting them be mobile enough to get from one place to another and interact with people.
Sally Cairns, any comments?
I wholeheartedly agree that the police were so helpful, so willing to be they were there on bikes, but also leading up to it, we had a couple of conversations. And again, this was not something that this committee officially undertook. It was kind of an ad hoc type of thing. But Chief Ambrose was terrific. And we are lucky. And I think too, and I know Lieutenant Sullivan is here. I know that it's not an easy thing right now to be a police officer. And I, wanted, and we said this, and I personally posted on my own Facebook page that, we appreciate our police and, yeah, we're in a good place. I like to think that maybe some of the conversations that go on through this committee are one of the reasons why we're in a good place. And so that was really wonderful. I just do want to say, I'm now feeling like the skunk at the lawn party, because I was looking for clarity about, do we want a slogan? Do we want a poster? Is this to build cohesion? I hear you all. Thank you. Yes, I guess the answer is all of the above. And I concur as well with the beautiful sentiments expressed by David and Charles and all of you. It was and you as well, Eileen. So yes, onward.
Thank you. Donna Hopkins.
Just thanks.
Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I wanted to second that we are very lucky to have such engaged police in our community. My daughter and I were down there for the demonstration, I guess it was called, and everyone was well behaved, luckily, and it went very well, and I'm glad to see that in Danvers that happened, that wasn't didn't get out of control or anything like that.
Thank you. Dr. Charlie Desmond.
Yeah, well, I would just only say that this is something that most people may have already seen before, but in the context of the conversation that we've had tonight, I'd like to recommend that people look at one of the most powerful TED Talks that's ever been given. More than 50 million people have seen it. And it was given by a gentleman named Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. And it's called How Great Leaders Inspire Action. And I think what we're trying to do as an organization is inspire action. And it's not so much coming to conclusions about what you do. It's not so much coming to conclusions about how you do it, but it's communicating powerfully, as we've heard tonight, about why we do what we're doing. What inspires people is why we as an organization are doing and trying to do what we're doing. We don't have all the answers for this, but I think people are resonating to the fact, and they're recognizing that we've got to come together as a community, as people, embracing and supporting and recognizing what we are all bringing to the table and why it's important to support that. And so I'm only saying that to say, while we struggle to come up with answers to all these things, I think people will be comfortable with that as long as they know we're motivated by a desire to make this community a beloved community, as John Lewis spoke many times. Why we're struggling so hard to find answers to how do we come together. And I want to support all the wonderful things that I've heard tonight and I've heard expressed tonight, but why we're doing this, why we're elected to do this, why we're appointed to do this is to find answers to this, because people are struggling with it. They can't find answers for themselves. They're looking for us to help. And I think that's a very important message for us not to lose sight of. So go listen to Simon Sinek's essay, his TED Talk. 50 million other Americans have listened to it, and it's a beautiful thing to listen to.
Thank you. I think I have everyone. Okay. So I will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the website update or the website maintenance.
Mhm.
I don't know if everybody knows that we actually do have a website. So, Sally, you want to take a crack at that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I
What
hear
the
you.
website is and
Sure. So the website is a pretty very basic website. The Friends of the Committee for Human Rights and Inclusion pays Joan Mead Web Design, which is a nice guy named Mark Jones. Probably many of you know him. And we pay him to upload content. He built the site, and occasionally I'll try to remember to send things along and say, could you put this on our website? Usually we'll put photos from the MLK event, the flag raising, all of which we didn't do this year. It's not, it's, it's things that I'm working in, so it's not always as up to date as I'd like it to be. Anyway, that's how we operate. Now, the tricky part is that because it's the Friends organization, and Charlie, you know this better than I because you've been on it forever, that is a separate entity, technically. This is getting rather technical. But in order for us to raise and expend funds, we do it through this 501c3, which is known as Friends of the Committee for Diversity, Human Rights and Inclusion. So I think it would be helpful if our staff liaison could do some of this posting so that, following a meeting, we might say to Eileen, here's some there was a TED Talk that we think would be very worthwhile to share. Could you post it? So but then we get this issue of we have to send a payment to Mark. It's a little funky. So now I have all the record keeping that Susan Fletcher used to do is in my dining room in a big bag. And every time we need payment, I go to the bank and I get a money order and I put it in the mail. It's kind of wacky. It's kind of outdated. But because of this change, I guess, that town hall decided, look, we don't want to be messing around in these 501c3s anymore. You committee people, you volunteers, you do that yourself. So that's the only hitch is, and I don't know, maybe I'm thinking maybe David and Eileen and you could work it out at that level as, between staff and, David has raised the issue many times and he's right about, we do have staff support for this committee. So it shouldn't, yeah. So we should be able to draw on that. And it's kind of a fuzzy, weird gray area. Do we still continue to pay Mark? Does that have to be, is that something that only I do through it? Can we have Eileen work with the town? I don't know. Are these other groups, Eileen, are they also not paying him, or yes, they're paying him, or how's it all work? I think the rail trail uses Mark as well.
So yeah, Jen and I and Dee spoke about this a bit, and the Human Rights Committee is a bit of an anomaly in that it's one of, I think, 2 groups right now. It's either 2 or 3. I think it's 2 that have their own website. All of the other committees in town actually just have a page on the town itself website, so danversma.gov. Those are staff maintained because it's we're not paying somebody else to maintain them. It's just, you know, me or Jen logging on, updating, you know, committee members, things like that. So, and
Well,
Dee
let's get one of those.
so Dee can speak to this a bit more. I don't want to kind of derail his conversation, but we did bring that up a bit as a possibility. Bill, I see you raising your hand too, so I want to make sure that goes acknowledged. But Bill and Jen and I did speak about this a little. I just don't want to take the floor from Dee, but
Yeah. So before I pass, did you say Dave?
Bill had a.
Oh, Bill. Okay, before I pass it on to Bill, yes. There's a possibility that we move our website into the town website. That's what Jen and Eileen have indicated to me, and they'll be willing to maintain it, which means they'll be adding whatever we want to add on there. They will help us do that at no charge. I'm technology challenged, I confess. Computers and all that for me is a challenge. I just wasn't sure if, does that mean we still maintain our website? It's just that you have to go to the town website to have access. Is that what it would look like, Eileen?
Yes, so if
I think I lost her.
I'll send you a link, Dee, but basically what you can do is you can go to danversma.gov and you can click on a tab. It's a little more clicking than just typing in, you know, the current address. But you can go to boards and committees. You can select the committee that you want to look at, and there is your, you know, committee website. Let's see. I'll send you a link to kind of show you how we do it. But basically, the committee would have its own page on danversma.gov.
Okay. Bill, you had a comment?
On the advisory board for the Rail Trail Committee, and in all the meetings I've been to with them, I don't ever remember anything talked about for payment to him.
Really?
Yes. I don't know if they're paying him or not, but it's never been on the agenda.
I don't remember how ours got going. Honestly, can't recall the discussions. Maybe someone else on this call remembers. Charlie, do you remember?
Just,
Can you unmute, Charlie? Can you unmute
I
people?
just got him unmuted. Yep.
you can just do a post audit and check the checks. I don't have an answer to that.
No, but
It's-
do you happen to recall a conversation that led us to do a website this way?
I think we did a website because we didn't think that we were getting high enough visibility at a time when diversity and inclusion and human rights issues needed to be more upfront relative to what's going on in Danvers. And so we were too obscure and lost in the currents of everything else that was going on in town at a time when these issues were being discussed more directly. So that's what led to maybe we needed to do something more direct ourselves. But I could certainly concur with the fact that the town needs to recognize that diversity inclusion is a very significant function of life in America today. It needs to be highly visible. You know, we're a multicultural, multi-ethnic society, and we need to recognize that because a lot of people don't.
So Charlie, are you wishing that we would keep the setup that we have? In which case, no? Okay.
I think that we should have a conversation with the town about how do we address this challenge that we're facing right now around diversity, inclusion, and human rights relative to a social media profile.
Jen,
sorry. I just want to raise this, Eileen, which is that here's the thing about websites. Websites are not the most helpful tool. With all of my complaints about Facebook, that's the platform where we really need a presence, and it's really almost daily or twice, 3 times a week posting. So if we were going to like spend I don't know. You're not doing town Facebook pages, right, Jen? Excuse me, Eileen, you don't do that, right?
No, that is, Jen is our communications director.
So does she do those, like different,
As far as the different committees go, I don't believe that's her. She maintains the main town Facebook page as far as I know.
right?
She did just text me though to let me know too. The other option we have is we can create a specific web address for the committee that just automatically directs to the town Facebook page. And Jen just texted me to say she does do those Facebook
Oh,
as well.
Say that this is a subcommittee conversation since we're getting down into the weeds. But the issue is that you could do Google Analytics. You could look at how many people actually are logging on to the web page. What are they doing when they go into the web page, and how frequently they're doing so by every web page that the town maintains. Google Analytics has all of this data that's accessible and available, and we could determine what's working, what's not working, what do we need to do to tweak these instruments so that we get the best access for the population we're concerned about. So this is all accessible data. We just haven't asked for it.
so
We don't get much engagement. I have seen analytics on the website. It's meager. But I think the larger question for me in my mind is this whole friends of paying Mark. I'm fine with not doing that.
okay, so
I have a contract with Mark. I don't want to be dishonorable.
This is also something we can do from the town website as well.
perfect. So what I would do is would be to work with Eileen and find out what the nature of the contract with Mark is. And then we're going to work toward a transition where we move our website into the town webpage, and then the staff can help us maintain that. Is that, I think that would be a fair way to go about it.
Yeah, I'm easy. I have no.
And in that regard, you will be receiving from me, I'll be sending out an email regarding a few committee ground rules and items as we go toward this. So how do we communicate? How do we update things on the website? Who does that? How does the line of communication go? How do we add items on the agenda? So all these things, you'll be receiving an email from me detailing those, so that we want that website and the Facebook page to be vibrant and to be current, so that we can reach more people.
Great.
Or,
Uh,
just clarify, is it an option
I
to?
will go on to the last item. Sorry, Sally, you have something else? Sure. Is it an option to, I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Sally?
Right, so, is the town telling us they don't want us to have our own anymore?
No, not at all, no. That's why we're discussing it here. Not at all. We can still have our own if we choose to do so, but they're willing to help if we want to go that route.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are not telling us we cannot have our own. It's as long as we want the town staff to help us update things in a frequent basis, they are willing to help us do that.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter who you're sending updates to, Eileen, right? You're just gonna, like, let's say we send you the link to the TED Talk. You're gonna send it in an email to someone, whether it's Jen or whether it's Mark, doesn't make any difference to you, right?
That's correct. I mean, yeah, Jen and I are going to be the ones sort of updating the webs. If you choose to stay with Mark's website, Jen and I can certainly communicate with him. If you choose to move on to the town page, we would be the ones making those updates. Just as a point of clarification too, because I don't want there to be any false assumptions out there. The Rail Trail does pay Mark for his services on the website as well,
Sure.
just to clarify that.
Okay. So they have their own.
They do, and they do pay for that maintenance.
Okay. And do they run the books, or is that, who writes the checks?
That I couldn't say. I was just notified that they do pay.
Do they, oh, okay.
Thank you, Eileen.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Thank you.
But as far as the website maintenance goes, if you chose to stay with your own independent media website, I can continue to communicate with Mark and Sally the invoice.
I know. Well, we should probably just pay him yearly.
So the way it works right now, we have a plan set up where I don't have the exact figure off the top of my head, but we pay for 12 hours of time up front. I've only been with the town since December, but it sounds like it takes the committee a long time to go through 12 hours of work.
It does.
It kind of depends on, when you say paying for a year up front, what does that mean exactly? You'd have to kind of look back at the last time you paid Mark to determine that. But you do pay for 12 hours up front, and in doing so, I believe you get a discount of, I want to say it's $140 or something like that. I have the exact figure in my email. But you do end up with a discount by paying up front versus if you were to just send us an hourly invoice.
All right, well, okay. We can discuss it offline in an email or I agree with Charlie. We're getting very much into the weeds here. So next thing you know, we're all going to be composing a tweet to put out. So let's not even.
We don't want that. I'll go to the last item on the agenda. Any new business? I will go in order here. Paul Polak.
Hang on, Paul. Let me find you. It keeps. Oh, I don't have Paul on my screen. Is he still
No,
here?
I think he packed it in.
Okay.
Bill Graham.
There we go. There's Bill.
The rainbow flag. Oh, was
Sorry,
David
go
gonna bring up the rainbow flag policy?
Well, yes, I think that is something that we probably will be discussing at our next meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Sally Cairns.
I do have one. I think it's a new business item. I was approached on July 4th, actually, at the library. A couple of us were there. Bob Gamer was there, and Paul, by this wonderful family in town, and a woman who has said she very much wants to be part of this committee. Her name is Amanda Sims Lombardi, I think.
Yeah.
Wonderful, full of energy. So I told her, and I should have made sure that she got the link for tonight. Come to a meeting, and we need young energy. She's really dynamic. I think she might have studied social justice in college. She's a very impressive woman, very passionate about this work. We need her on this committee. So now that it's a Zoom thing, I think I told her, she filled out her application. I hate that term application because nobody applies. No one has to apply to volunteer in their town. So at any rate, she sent a letter and I said, well, maybe you should come to a meeting. I don't know. Has anyone heard from her? Did she reach out? Or did we reach out to her, Eileen?
I'm not before Eileen speak, I'm not sure about her specifically, but I do know there have been a lot of interest from residents into joining this committee.
Oh, wow.
I'll probably say at least 6 or 7 people have contacted either myself or the town hall and showed interest into joining the committee work.
She reached out to me previously too.
Yes.
So for sure,
I did have a discussion with the town manager, and he actually had some very exciting news and ideas. Actually, David Mills was there as well for our committee, including even broadening the scope of what we do. Because, I mean, I feel personally that this committee was made for times like this one. And it is important that we have that presence in town and be able to bring as much people as we can together. And that will also include defining membership with the process of getting the appointment from the Board of Selectmen and things like that. So I don't know if you can forward the information of that person, Sally, so we can
Absolutely.
we can send her an initial letter.
We've actually communicated with Amanda. She was one of the
Okay.
residents who reached out to us. Actually, a link to the meeting went out to all residents who had expressed interest. That's Kristen is with us tonight. She was one of the residents who's expressed interest. So a lot of people have expressed interest or forwarded paperwork to, you know, quote unquote, apply for the committee. So the ball's kind of rolling on that. And it's exciting to get some new perspectives in here. For sure.
Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you so much.
Can we hear a minute from Kristen about what, your thoughts and?
Absolutely. So I am obviously a Danvers resident. I've been here for a long time. I went to Endicott College in my undergrad. I currently work for GlaxoSmithKline as a study delivery lead. I oversee ovarian cancer research, and I am really focused on clinical trial diversity. So I spend a lot of my free time at work, which whatever that means, on just different initiatives within inclusion and diversity. And I'm a leader in my department for that. So I'm really excited about this opportunity. I found this actually on the town website. So I'm kind of listening to all the things you're talking about and how you're kind of all getting to how I found you all. I'm very interested in the ideas with the bumper sticker and the, you know, I think maybe a bigger like logo or something that could be used across the board is exciting to you know, keep that message going beyond this immediate action. So I have a lot of good ideas, and I'm excited to learn from you all if I get to remain in this committee. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you. Donna Hopkins, any comments?
Gotcha, Donna. There we go.
Oh, no comments.
Thank you. Dr. Charlie Desmond?
I think it would be a great oversight for me not to recognize the fact that today was the funeral for John Lewis. It may have come up at the early part of the meeting, but I'd like to also give a word about at the end of the meeting. And as you may have discussed earlier today, John wrote a letter just weeks before his death, and he wanted it to be read at the wanted it to be printed on the day of his funeral. So it was printed today in the New York Times. And if I could, I would just read the last sentence. It's just a beautiful sentence. And I think for those of us who are on this committee, it will resonate for all of us. And it says, when historians pick up their pens and write the story of the 21st century, let them say that it was your generation who laid down the heavy burden of hate at last, and that peace finally triumphed over violence, aggression, and war. So I say to you, walk with the wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide. I don't think there's any more important message that could be stated for our work of what it is that we're trying to do. Walk with peace, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be our guide. If we do that, we will ultimately and positively prevail.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really moving.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Jorge Sanchez Salazar, any final comments on any new business?
No new business, and that's a tough act to follow. Thank you, Charlie. I don't really have anything else to say.
Thank you. Bob Gamer? Did I lose Bob?
I got
Bob,
him
you
for
want
you.
to read yourself?
Go ahead, Bob.
Nothing to add?
Perfect. I think, did I call on everyone? Okay.
We're all set.
I think that's it. Okay, so this concludes our meeting for today. And thank you all, and for people at home watching, thank you. Thank you to all our guests. And let's keep working at it. And as someone once said, America is great because we continue to work to make it a more perfect union. It's not because we are perfect, it's because we continue to work to make it a more perfect union. Thank you very much, and good night, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone.